This is the entrance to Tule Springs Ranch. Actually, we are at the Floyd Lamb City Park, but the original place was a divorce ranch called Tule Springs, or the Springs Ranch. As it changed hands back and forth from the state to the city, the park was named for one of the state senators, longtime state senator and politician Floyd Lamb. Where I came in was the actual original gate, or when the ranch was created. I was last here in 2008, and in looking at my old photos, I noted that presently they have upgraded the signage. One thing the ranch is noted for are the peacocks, like this one here. I think they're pretty used to people, so that they don't make a big deal out of things. And if you, I guess, don't get too close, there's not a problem. Now this gazebo, I'm not sure was part of the ranch back then. And what I wanted to do today was just to get an overview of what the ranch structures look like. So you would drive in through the entrance and I guess park somewhere. Of course, most of the people coming here when it was a divorce ranch likely didn't have cars because they flew into Las Vegas for the 6-week residency requirement, and they were probably dropped off here by either taxi or a vehicle from the ranch. So there was probably no need for a big parking lot. So this is pretty much the historical district here. Of course, it includes the barns over in this direction as well. The house over here was the Foremans House, which was actually where Gallman's daughter, who managed the ranch, lived with her family. And then across the entryway was the cookhouse over here. And closer to that fence where those people are was the tennis court. So let's move on down and see if we can scoot by this peacock. He's sort of looking. I would bet he won't move though, because they're used to people. He's just keeping an eye on things. So guests would be driven into the ranch, and they would have 1 or 2 places to live while they were waiting for the residency requirement. One was this building here. Called the guest house, which had, I believe, 4 suites. So they would come in. So there's number 4. And have their rooms, which I believe consisted of a living Either they're mating or they don't like me. That's why they're getting upset. So these are the 4 suites. And actually you can get a peek into that area here. Interesting. When they were ready to go to the pool, they would come out of the guest house and come over in this direction. This is the water wheel and pump house inside that gazebo with the cupola on top. So then we get to the bridge, and again this was put in over the spring to give this a country-like atmosphere. This would be the Duplex guest house. As you can see, there are 2 doors there leading to 2 separate quarters. So if you counted it up and you figure the women came separately or maybe with a girlfriend to stay in Las Vegas for 6 weeks to get their divorce, there were 4 suites available in the main guest house and 2 over here. So that's about 6 places for them to stay, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm sure they paid handsomely for being here, because once they came here, everything I believe was included, including meals, horseback riding, tennis, trap shooting, and other ranch activities, and I'm sure transportation into Las Vegas to have some evenings gambling. So this was the Duplex. And of course the Duplex people had their own little gazebo to hang out in the evenings, which would be nice having it here because we are looking west here, so the sun would promote shade on this side of the house. Most of these buildings are used for storage. And it would be interesting to know what some of the items that they have stored from the original ranch. Now this little area here was the pool. And again, you get a chance to see what the guest house looked like. So they could also access the pool from the guest house. And this was a very large pool for that time. Actually, it started off as just a reservoir, and then they converted it into a pool when they decided to start the divorce ranch, or let's say dude ranch. That sounds better. And of course, if you have a pool, you must have a bathhouse. And that is what this structure is. This is the generator building, containing a big diesel generator, which I'm told is still housed in this building. And somewhere to the right of that building was an underground tank to store the diesel fuel. And if you look between the buildings, you'll see those concrete structures over there, which are curved and look like they would contain a big tank. And indeed, that was additional diesel fuel to run the farm machinery. This is sort of the iconic structure designating the historic district. And this is the water tower, where the water would be pumped up there to provide the pressure to allow water to enter all of the structures that need be. Now you might ask why that door is there with no porch. Well, this, in addition to being a water tower, contained 2 apartments. And that's one of the apartments. And the other apartment was on the first level with this door. It is said that the cooks or maids occupied those apartments when they were working at the ranch. Then next to that is the spring house. And this structure here should be the powerhouse. So I assume that after the diesel generator generated power, the powerhouse, I guess, had all of the equipment that would downsize the electricity so that it would be appropriate for whatever fixtures that they had. Now, supposedly, right where this restroom is was the skeet house or skeet building. Maybe they had trap and skeet here. And it was a sort of a shelter or a viewing stand where people could come and watch each other shoot. So based upon that, I assume that the shooting was all to the south behind this building. It's now a restroom. Of course, they call it the gun house. And you can see 2 young ladies there waiting for divorces and practicing with their shotguns. Once more, this is the Foremans House. Now this peculiar structure over here, which is dug into this mound, is the root cellar. It is said that there's shelves in there, and all the canned fruits and vegetables would be placed on the shelves each year, and the ranch hands had free access to the canned goods. However, there was another room behind that and deeper that had the alcohol locker, and the ranch hands did not have the key to that particular room. The building next to it is the Duplex building, and then we're on the back side of that, and the gazebo and the water wheel. But there was grass like this and a lot of cottonwood trees. When you're talking about how these were built, this is a good example. As you can see, this was concrete masonry. It wasn't adobe, but it was fitted and painted to appear to be adobe. And there's always mention of how the beams supporting the roof had curved ends. It didn't come out in a square or a rectangle, but they were curved like this. And there's some kind of vernacular called colonial ranch style or something that this is supposed to represent. Actually, the only adobe thing is the original structure that was here when the ranch was first purchased back in 1916. Let's get a peek in here and see what it looks like. If you notice, the wood part of this house has that wavy character, which has something to do with its value in terms of architecture. See if we can get a peek. It appears they have maintained this area somewhat. So just think, in the mornings you could come out here and look west over the Spring Mountains and the sheep range. And then in the evening, look back to the east towards Las Vegas.